Okay, let's jump right in. What if I told you that a state-level election happening in just one corner of India is actually a huge deal on the world stage? Well, today we're going to break down exactly why the 2026 election in Kerala is way more than just a local contest.
Listen to this quote from our source material. A world-class event. That's a pretty bold claim, right? For an election in just one of India's 28 states. So what is going on here that warrants that kind of language?
And that's the big question we're tackling today. Why all the fuss? Let's dig in and figure out what makes this one-state election a political showdown with, yes, global implications.
To really get it, we have to start with the people at the very heart of this story, the voters themselves. Because in Kerala, the way people participate in politics is a huge part of what makes it so unique.
Just look at this number, 27.5 million. Out of a total population of about 35 million, nearly 80% of the people there are registered voters. To put that into perspective for you, that's more people than the entire population of Australia. This isn't just democracy, it's a place that is literally defined by mass political participation.
And when you have that many people so deeply involved, an election becomes something more. The global Malayali community, that's what people from Kerala are called, they're known for being super civically engaged. They turn the whole election season into this vibrant, passionate festival. It's an event that pulls in family and friends from all over the world.
So what's the secret sauce here? What fuels this incredible democratic energy? Well, it really boils down to a mix of 4 key things. First, you have voters who are not only politically literate, but they actually show up. Then, these voters are mobilized by political parties that are incredibly well organized, right down to the grassroots level. Add to that the state's advanced social and economic conditions, and you've got a recipe for intense, high-stakes politics. And of course, you've got a media that covers every single move 24/7.
And then there's this incredible layer of history. You've got to understand, this isn't just any state. This is the place where, way back in 1957, the world's first ever communist government was voted into power through a democratic election. That legacy has created a political landscape that is truly unlike anywhere else on the planet. So we've got the people, we've got the history, now let's look at the battlefield itself. We're talking about a fight for control of 14 seats in the state assembly. So what does the board look like right now? Here's the most important piece of context. The Left Democratic Front, or LDF, that's a coalition led by communists, has been running the show for 10 straight years. So the big question on everyone's mind is simple. Can they hold on for a third term? And this chart, wow, it lays it all out visually. You can see the ruling LDF holding a commanding 98 seats. That is a very comfortable majority. The opposition, the United Democratic Front, or UDF, is way back with just 42. Just look at the gap between those two bars. That shows you the political mountain the opposition has to climb.
And that brings us to the magic number, 29. That is the absolute minimum number of seats the UDF has to flip to snatch power away from the LDF. They need to get to that majority mark of 71. So every speech, every rally, every single political move for the next 2 years is going to be about closing that 29-seat gap. It's a simple number, but it represents a massive political challenge.
So this is basically the 3-way dynamic you need to watch. You've got the ruling LDF, the defending champs, trying to hold on to their decade of power. Then you have the main challenger, the UDF, fighting tooth and nail for a comeback. And then there's the BJP, India's national ruling party, trying to crack the code and become a real third force in Kerala's very unique political scene.
Okay, let's move on and see how this all builds towards that final showdown in 2026. Because believe me, the race has already, unofficially, begun. This timeline really maps it out nicely. Now, the main event, the big one, is the assembly election in March of 2026. But the real starting pistol fires a few months earlier. You got to keep your eyes on the local Panchayat elections in late 2025. Everybody sees those as the semifinals. It's a crucial test of the public mood and will absolutely set the tone for the final battle.
So at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one question. In a state that's famous for having some of the smartest, most engaged voters anywhere, will they decide to continue with the LDF after a decade of rule? Or is Kerala on the verge of a massive, dramatic political shift? That right there is the question that makes this a truly world-class event worth watching.